Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Interesting discussion tonight, talking about bail reform. We had some groups on that say basically it needs to be reformed, that the bail system keeps poor people locked up. Tonight we're talking with some bail bonding professionals. We have Mario Hambrick from Free at Last Bonding, Mark Woodside from Melton Bonding Company, and they're giving us their point of view on this. Let's go to Reverend Fuzz. Hello, Reverend Fuzz.
Okay, good evening. I want to ask I heard just last week at a community meeting, and then I heard the mayor or John Cooper reiterated that 37208 zip code has the most arrests of any zip code in the nation. That's right here in Nashville. I heard that too from good sources. I want to ask you, what kind of arrests are the most, categories that, that you're making bonds for? And, and talk more about this legislative thing, because is it true? Where are these laws really coming from? And I heard your associate mention about the people at the legislature. What's being done to put the right people in the legislature who will change some of this? And, that's kind of my thoughts. And hello, Mario.
Hello, Pastor Fuzz. I've been seeing on Facebook that great sermon you preached at Jolton Baptist Church on Sunday. Great job.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Fuzz. All right. He had a lot of questions there. Do you know about the zip code?
Yeah. I mean, basically talking about 37208, I grew up in that neighborhood. I mean, I think what's going on is that there's not many jobs. So a lot of kids don't have much to do in the afternoons. You take, for instance, Metro Park's former director closed down a lot of the youth life learning centers, I believe Tommy Lynch. So therefore you had all these kids who were going to these centers who had programs and things in the afternoons where they could get tutoring, training, life skills, and for some reason Metro Park stopped those programs. So basically you had 100 kids, now they have nothing to do. So what they do is they see this guy, older guy, standing on the corner doing bad things, so they say, hey, I'm going to follow him. So therefore it's like a pattern. And so, and I think Metro government, as much money as we have in this city and as much money, all these $1 million homes, $800,000 homes, it seems like you could fund the youth life learning centers. You could take 100,000 here, 100,000 there, or either other agencies to have something for these kids to do. But yet we spend so much money. You take the baseball game over here is going on right now. You've got 40 police officers over there at $60 an hour directing traffic and helping people cross the street. Yet you got 100 kids over here that don't have somebody directing them. Say, hey, let's read a book. Let's do our homework. Let me mentor you. Let's go down to Channel 5. Let you meet Ben Hall. So I think it goes back to, it's direction. We must have direction. And we just don't have that in the communities. In Edge Hill, James Casey Homes, you had, like I said, the Youth Life Learning Center was there. You had all these kids that were going to this program, yet they stopped it.
Yeah, you are on the front lines. I mean, we're talking about one issue, but there are many issues here.
There's many
to talk about.
It's
and
like
you're on the front lines
It's like a pound cake. It's like a perfect recipe. So a lot of stuff goes into this. So it's just not the bail bondsing. It's not just the bail marking. It's just not the bond. It's a lot of different stuff to go into this.
He asked about lawmakers and how to get things changed. Do you think there's going to be a change? Do you think what these law groups are asking for will happen, that there will be some changes to how the bail bonding system operates?
See, that's another issue that we have that I shake my head. There are laws in place that have been enacted. The judges at the Metropolitan Courthouse do not follow them. They create their own rules. And that is what's happening here.
And what do you mean?
When the judge contacts the commissioners and says release every misdemeanor that comes in, there's not a law anywhere in this world that says that. It's their directive. One commissioner, recent commissioner, who refused to follow that directive, well, his appointment was not renewed and he was terminated.
So you're saying that has been the directive?
Yes.
When did that start?
Within the past 6 months?
Yeah, I guess Commissioner Nelson was ousted, I believe, in September, or retired, whatnot. And, you know, he was the best thing since brown bread. I mean, you think about it. If a person went out here and you assaulted a police officer, just this past weekend, an officer was assaulted on 2nd Avenue from somebody from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and was RR. If you done that on Tom Nelson's watch, you would have been in jail on a $20,000 bond, because he would just not sit there and say, okay, this guy comes in here and assaults an officer, fights an officer, beats up an officer, and then I'm just going to release him to the street. Negative. It's not going to happen.
Okay, let's go to Marcia. Hello, Marcia. Marcia, are you there? All right, I'll come back to you, Marcia. Let's go to Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hey, you know, bail reform is taking place all over the country, and it's been long overdue. I mean, if you got 2 people in jail for the same nonviolent misdemeanor crime, and you let one person stay in jail and the other person not for $100, that's just morally wrong. Now, Davidson County is real good about releasing people on nonviolent misdemeanors. I didn't know they were letting go all misdemeanor, because that guy that assaulted the cop must have, I don't see how he didn't get charged with a felony. That would have been bound over to a grand jury. Now, Williamson County and Wilson County are a little different. It seems like the wealthier, more countrified the counties are, the more you're going to stay in jail. Because I'm not saying nothing, but this guy, the Nick at Night guy, you know, I had a little encounter with out in the country with a little small pound justice, and I swear to God, some of the guys that were in there, the judge said, "Why are you still in here in jail? You got a $75 bond, $100 bond." But I have $100. I have nobody to sign. So even if you have the money, you got to have somebody to sign for you.
Okay.
For bail bondsmen across the country, a lot of them, I don't think, want to be in the bail bonds business anymore. If you know what I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's talk about.
You know, some of them are like, hey, you know, this.
All right, let's talk about some of the stuff you're bringing up there. What he brought up a lot. What do you think about what he said?
Well, you know, all because reform is happening all across the country, it's probably needed all across the country. But again, the pendulum is swinging all the way to the extreme. You're going to go from one set of issues to another set of issues. In the case of Nashville, instead of 12,000 people maybe being victimized here, you're going to have a population of 690,000 that are being victimized here. And when the caller and people like him, they say, you know, they refer to these things as petty minor offenses.
Misdemeanors, right.
It's not petty when you are the victim. You are the victim, it's petty to me. But not when it happens to me, it's not. It's not petty, it's important to me.
Let's go to David. Hello, David.
Several of your callers, and even one of you, have prejudged people that were arrested to be guilty. And that's not the case in this nation. And another thing, when arresting officers lie before God and witness on a routine basis to deny ROR, and that occurs all the time in Davidson County. And it took 20 years to get Faith Thomas out of the sheriff's department and into Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, where he belonged. And I was one of his victims. And all anyone's got to do to ruin someone's life is call that rat line, Crime Stoppers, and say someone committed a crime, and the Metro Police do not investigate. What, 6 or 7 years ago, there was an African-American male that was graduating high school, and luckily enough for him, his mother recorded his graduation. Someone that didn't like him said he murdered somebody the night that he was graduating. So the Metro Police went out and arrested him and denied him bond.
Yeah, that's for murder. So that's a little different. His first point is, again, these are people that have not been convicted. And that is a point that we hear. They aren't convicted, but they have been arrested.
So basically our position is we're not the judge and we're not the jury. We don't set the bonds. We're just there. We hope and pray that no one ever needs our services, but we're just like a bank on the corner. You know, hey, if a person needs us, they call us, and if we can help them, we can. There are situations where people will call and says, hey, you know, I'm from, you know, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I work, you know, in a factory or something. We may get them out, we may not. It just depends. And a lot of people, we tell them, say, hey, you may want to just do a cash bond because it's too risky for us. But again, you know, we're not the judge and the jury. We're just basically there to make sure the person goes to court, is our position.
If there's been this dramatic shift in the way things are being done in Davidson County, you must be concerned about your futures.
Oh, exactly. Well, I'm not concerned. I mean, you know, I have many different different businesses, but you can take, for instance, I operate in Williamson County. In Williamson County, if you go to Walmart and you steal a CD bin, you're going to do 30 days in jail, okay? If you go and break in somebody's house in Williamson County, you're going to be in the penitentiary, the state pen, you know? So everything is kind of like, that's why you have the crime rate, I think, is what, 1 or 2% in Williamson County. I mean, they just don't play. You know, it's very serious. They take it very serious for thefts or anything. So, you know, I think we need to examine ourselves here in Davidson County.
Let's take one more call here before break. Lucy, hello, Lucy.
Yeah, hey, let's see if I can be quick. Well, and I think it's in the state of Florida, if you steal a bottle of shampoo from Walmart, they charge you with burglary, too. It's not consistent across this country. Let me give you an example. There were a man and a woman hiking near Iran. They got arrested, put in jail. They were released after 3 or 5 years. But Iran did something funny. They made them post a bond. I have heard that the United States is the only country that makes you post a bond when you're in jail. So it can be abused. It can be inconsistent. And I think that's the whole point. I don't think somebody's out to get y'all per se, and I understand you want to put some input into it, but it is a chain gang system. It's what we've had in this country forever, since slavery ended. And white people included, if you're poor, you're screwed. So thank y'all for coming on. I appreciate you putting your opinion out here, your side of it, and I'm going to hang up.
All right. And yeah, she's kind of cutting right to the essence of it. That's what the other side is saying. If you're poor, it's just not fair. And so, again, what do you say about that?
What's the difference between a person who can pay $10,000 for an attorney and getting a court-appointed attorney where the max they'll spend is $1,000? At what point do we draw the line? Why do you drive a Mercedes and I drive a Yugo?
Which I don't, but I understand.
I understand.
Right.
But again, in the criminal justice system, representation, a fundamental right, money plays a part there too. So it's far more so than in bail.
Right. You're saying in all aspects, money plays, and that's all right. Take a break. Come back. Take more calls. If you're on the line, hold on. We'll get to your call. Take a break. Be back right after this.